Hi, I'm Chrane. So during tonight's stream, me and my chat brainstormed together a rule set, a potential rule set for Nuzlocking in Digimon Story Time Stranger. Keep in mind, this has not been tested yet. This is just us theory crafting together a rule set that I'm going to be testing on Thursday, the 16th of October. So with that in mind, let's look at the 20 rules we have put together for this, and do feel free to give me some feedback in the chat as well, because I'm not like married to these rules. If you have input, I would love to hear it and potentially change some stuff based on feedback. So let's look at it, shall we? Here are the first 10 rules of this. Okay, so first off, difficulty. We chose to go for hard because it's a Nuzlocke, it should be challenging. This might be a huge mistake, we'll find out on Thursday. But that's the first, like, big move for this. Like, we're doing hard difficulty. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we'll walk it back and we'll change. But I think it's gonna be the correct choice here. Number 2, this is an interesting one, where it's slightly different from your regular Nuzlocke. If a Digimon faints, it's back to in training 1 form. If you can't de-digivolve, it's to the farm until it's possible. Now, this was brought to me by a person in chat, and I think it's a great idea because it's very much in line with what Digimon is. Like, when they get defeated in the show, they are turned back into their baby forms every time when it's a rough defeat. And you could just play this with regular Nuzlocke, like they fainted, they're dead, they're out, to the farm, literally. And you could absolutely play that way. It's fine. You only have to like ignore 2 or 3 rules in here if you do that. So it's fine. You can pick. I think this is a fun, unique thing though for this. So I put that in here. Number 3, full team wipe equals game over. Simple. I think that's fair. Number 4, this is just for like a personal, personal like channel experience, because we ran a burst for the entire playthrough, and you know, by the power of gun, the only agent skill you're allowed to use is burst. We're not messing around with stats or single target. It's AoE boom all the way. And no repeat Digimon. This is gonna be brought back up a few times over this, but you can only have, if you have a Greymon at some point, you can never have another Greymon. Okay? It's gonna make a lot of sense very soon. Only 1 Digimon per area. This is very Nuzlocke. If you've heard of them before, you know about this. Only 1 Digimon per area. You can target farm / reset rooms, but it's gonna be harder because everything is gonna respawn, and the thing you're farming might require 10 scans to get to 200%, while another thing that's running at you might take 2. So you can target farm, but it's gonna be challenging, okay? You're gonna have to dodge some stuff. That's how you choose to play it. Oh, number 7. Only the first 200% scan Digimon in the area is converted into a teammate. Now, this also means that if you stay in that area, you will get a bunch of other Digimon up to 200% that you are not allowed to convert. They will stay at 200% scan for the rest of your run, meaning you can use this as a way to remove them from the pool in the future if you feel like it. I don't know if that would be a good strategy, but it's something you can do. But that also means that if there's a lot of in-training 1 forms at the start of the game, and you like might run into them much later in the game, if you have them locked at 200%, but you didn't get them for that area, there's no way for them to ruin an area for you later in the game. So, yeah, that's how that works. I think that's a very fun rule in here. So, number 8, the first available Digivolution is the one we choose. Now, let's say you get Agumon. It's a simple example, right? Everyone knows Agumon. You get Agumon, and he gets a bunch of different evolutions, but his first one might be Greymon or Geogreymon or something else. But let's say his first evolution he unlocks is Greymon. That's where you go. He's a Greymon now. You don't get to pick. The first one you unlock is the one you get. However, if you use agent skills in the tree, you can buy the you can unlock the skills that makes Digivolution require less with certain personalities, and that way you can kind of level yourself up to customize where you want your things to go. But you know, it's going to be a tough balance walk because he's going to get levels. You might not have enough anomaly points to get the skill point that you want for him to evolve into something different. So, you know, there's a nice balance there going on. So the first form he unlocks as an evolution, that's what he is. That's where you go. Which also means that the double, like the no repeat rule number 5 means that if you have an Agumon and a Guimon, and honestly I don't remember if Guimon evolves into Greymon, but just let's say he does, and your Agumon evolved into Greymon, that means if your Guimon has his first, maybe we should have used Geogreymon as an example, whatever, let's say he evolves into Greymon, your Agumon evolved into Greymon, that means that your Guimon is not allowed to turn into Greymon, even if that's the first one he unlocks. You're not allowed to get a second Greymon. Even if your Greymon has evolved into something else, you're not allowed to use that Greymon. You had one, you're not allowed to use one again. So he has to Digivolve into the second option that unlocks in that case. There's a lot to keep track of, but I think it's gonna be very fun when it all comes together. Number 9, all in-training Digimon are caught once for the field guide entry, then returned to data. In-training 1 or in-training 2 can be caught to de-digivolve to in-training 1 for making this easier, because we need the baby forms to do the whole de-digivolving thing when they die in combat. So you are allowed to get the in-training forms 1 and 2 whenever you get them to 100%, just to like scratch them off the list, get the entry in the field guide to be able to de-digivolve, and then you return them to money. Return them to data. You kind of need to do that for this whole thing to work. Then number 10, you have to convert outer dungeon Digimon to data. We don't want you running around with a Tyrant Kabuterimon early in the game. That's not what this is gonna be. We can't have that. On to the final 10. So, we have 10 more rules here. No DLC dungeon grind. You're not gonna have an easier Nuzlocke run because you spent $7. That's not happening. You're not doing those dungeons. You're not allowed to load enhance. That's too easy. That makes you too strong. You're not allowed to use it. Augment chips are fine. You can do that. That's whatever. You can use them. They are spread throughout the game. If you find one, use it. That's whatever. No XP grinding until you reach the last boss. I should probably put this one in italics and put it at the bottom, because I'm not fully set on having this as a rule, but I feel like it might be a good one to have in place. I feel like it might be necessary, honestly, because we don't want you grinding past boss levels and stuff. But like, isn't it technically grinding if you're resetting an area to get a different first encounter, you know, or get a specific first encounter? Technically, I guess, but like, you're not, basically what this rule is saying is that you're not going to spend half an hour to an hour in the same area just doing auto battles to get levels. We're not doing that. No. Next one, no items in combat. Simple, straightforward, straight to the point. No, you're not allowed to heal in combat, nothing like that. There is one fight in the game where you have to, you don't have to, but where the game recommends you to use an item for the encounter, for the quest, and I think that one's fine. You can use that item that one time. Like, that's fine. Number 15, no running from combat. If you're in, you're in. You fight to the death. It's all fair game at that point. No farm. Items or stats, or personalities for that matter. That should probably be on there as well. Yeah, no farm. Items, personality, or stats. We're not doing that. It's too strong. It's gonna make you too buff. We can't have that. This is supposed to be difficult. Number 17, talking to Digimon to change personality. No farm. It's, again, to make it difficult. We don't want you to swapping all of your physical attackers to Brave to make them all powerhouses. We don't want you swapping back and forth to get the right personality skill. Like, we don't want you to... like, sure, if you get lucky and get, like, a black Gatomon and a Gatomon, you don't... we want it to be a bit difficult to get to Mastemon, okay? There's supposed to be a little bit of a challenge there, okay? So only personality change through talking, which, you know, when have Nuzlocke's ever been fun? Enjoy the challenge. 18. Only allowed to use attachment skills that Digimon learned through leveling in current and prior forms. No attachment skills off the ground, chests, or vendors. Meaning that you have a more limited moveset. You're not gonna be running a Greymon with a bunch of light, dark, null. You're not gonna be doing that. You're not gonna be running heal moves on a Greymon. You're like, you have the 4 attachment skills you learn through level up, and that on Greymon, and then you have the skills you learn through level up on Agumon and Koromon, if that's where you started on Koromon. And those moves for those 3 forms, that's your move pool. That's what you're allowed to choose from. Then when you level up, you get a bigger move pool. You can pick from more stuff because you get a new form with 4 new moves. So no buying moves, no picking up moves and putting them on your Digimon. If you find moves on the ground, you might save them for some crafting, or you can sell them. It's up to you. But we're not putting them on the Digimon. We are playing restrictive mode. When a story boss is defeated, the Fallen, the de-Digivolved forms that have fallen in battle and then got turned into Training 1, when a story boss is defeated, the Fallen can Digivolve once. So let's say you fall, like, let's say your Agumon, not even Agumon, let's say your Agumon wipes in the government building at the start of the game, the part that was in the demo. And then you get to the, so he's turned back into a Botamon, right? Then when you get to the Kuwagamon boss fight on the roof, he is then, if you win that fight, he's then allowed to be, not transformed, Digivolved once to a Koromon. Which means that you have to defeat 1 more boss for him to come back to Agumon. Then you're allowed to use him as a normal, you know, evolve whenever he can and stuff like that. But you need to get back to where he was before you can start using him as any other party member. So when they are in that state, I suggest using the protect function. I can show you how that works. Basically, you go into the Digivice, go into Digimon and setup, and then you click equipment skills, whatever this button down here tells you to click. For controls, it's Y and triangle. In this menu, you can see I have a lock on Aerovidramon, right? Which you can add by clicking the protect keybind down here. It's P for keyboard, and you click in the right stick on Xbox or R3 for PlayStation, right? To protect them, and you can see the lock going away and coming back if I click it multiple times. So if they are in basically Digimon jail because they need to get back to where they were in the Digivolution history up here, they will remain locked, and when they are back to where they were when they wiped, you can remove the lock and they are back to use freely however you want. You can still use them when they're leveling up, that's fine, but you can't evolve them freely until that point, until you get rid of the lock, when they're back to the form they were when they wiped. And finally, this is a very specific one. The first Titamon fight, where he comes out of a damn portal underground, is not a wipe, because the fight will, even if you lose that fight, you're sent forward into the story, which means there is no lost state in that fight, so you can't lose that with a wipe. However, the deaths in that fight are still gonna be turned into Training 1 forms. So if your whole team wipes, the run is not over, but your whole team is gonna be tier 1. In Training 1, baby forms. And that's where we are at right now with all the rules we set up for this. Like I said, on the 16th of October, Thursday, I'm going to be streaming this at 6 p.m. Central Europe time. And which means probably 9 a.m. West Coast, noon East Coast US. I think that's how that works. Whatever. You can figure it out. You have clocks in your phones. So, yeah, that's when I'm testing this, seeing how it works. If you have any pointers or critiques or ideas, feel free to leave them in the chat. I can do an update video where we talk more about things that people dislike, things that people enjoy with this, things that should change. I'm open for any type of discussion with all this stuff. So it's whatever. It's free to the floor is open to everyone. Feel free to express your opinions and feelings. But right now, I'm gonna go to bed. So, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, everyone. And I'll see you next time. Bye.